Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayla's gone! Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday, and that always means Sir Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Welcome aboard, sir.
How are you, Jim?
I am just lovely. How was your day started?
It's been okay. It's raining down here, but it could be worse. It could be snow. So
there, exactly. It is a little chilly out there, but all things were warm and toasty in East Lansing last night for the Indiana Hoosiers as they get not only the biggest win of the season, but how far back do you have to go to surpass this win? Purdue, maybe?
The Hood Schifino game.
Yeah,
I'd say that's right. And it was an impressive win because they took the lead there at the end of the first half and controlled the game most of the way. Made clutch free
come
throws.
back from 12 down, even
20-8. And he, we've spent a lot of time bashing Mike Woodson through the years, but you got to give him credit for showing the flexibility to go into the 2-3 zone, which did work against Michigan. It worked again some last night, and he sat some guys that needed to be sat, and
did not start Malik Renew.
Or,
oh my God, the hell broke loose. Hell froze over.
How about that? Or Rice didn't start Rice.
It just shows. It's like, okay, well, where was this flexibility and mentality? Over the course of the last 3.5 years, but it's a shame you had to be beat over the head with a hammer until that acknowledgement finally comes. And look what happens. Look at the effort they get from the team and how it worked. Now, fortunately, it was probably against a team that worked as well against as anyone. I don't know that would have worked against Michigan. Michigan is just a good team, but it did. And who's to say that this won't work again Saturday against UCLA? Then they're gonna if they can beat UCLA, then beat the teams they should beat. They'll have a chance to take on a Purdue team at home. Do they have an outside shot of putting themselves back in consideration for one of those final spots?
I think they would have to have some success in the Big Ten tournament to do that, but yeah, they wouldn't be dead. I mean, if they can beat UCLA and then beat Purdue at home, I think they'd be back in the discussion, but that's still a big ask because the other teams that are in that range are all playing poorly too. I know that in the ACC, North Carolina's been a bigger free fall than Indiana. Pittsburgh's totally collapsed. A couple of other teams I know have slumped. It's the SEC that's on track to get maybe 13 or 14 teams to get in a tournament.
Yeah, it's just kind of surprising to watch this. But how about Michigan? Michigan, a big win. Well, I mean, they were at home, so it's not like it's a shocker. But Michigan now leads the Big Ten Conference by a half game over Purdue. And those top teams are all playing each other in a circle. Michigan and Michigan State played twice before the season is out. Let's see. I think Michigan State plays Purdue again Yeah, because Michigan's already played them twice. So it's going to be interesting. Michigan has a serious, legitimate shot at winning the Big Ten.
Yeah, they do. And that's very impressive for a first-year coach who rebuilt the roster on the fly, and good for him. He's a good coach. We saw that on Saturday. Handles himself well in press conferences. I think he'd be a fine coach at whatever school he worked at.
Absolutely. If anyone that was lucky to get him, and for him, regardless, he's going to be an even wealthier man after this season
Yes,
ends.
he is.
No
Yes,
matter
he is.
what happens.
It'll be interesting to see what Michigan does to try and extend him and enhance his contract before he gets to the Big Ten tournament and everybody starts peppering with questions about it, and whether he go ahead and agrees to an extension or whatever by then. We'll know quite a bit by then.
I know that all of these things have to be back channeled right now, but you've been in this game a lot longer than I have, and you've done a hell of a lot better job at it. How much are they able to even gauge right now with where we are in a season race and all this stuff going on? And I know the agents have to get involved because that's the only people you can actually talk to, but how much are they finding out? Is there interest? Are you interested?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's already been determined with a lot of different coaches. Agents who represent coaches who want to be involved in the Indiana job have already gotten word to Scott Dolson that they're interested. And I'm sure it works in the reverse fashion, that guys that Indiana has interest in have made inquiries to their agents about whether their guys would be interested. It's already well underway.
Yeah, and I wonder how far that can even go. And I think it might depend on how successful your team is at the moment, obviously, because, a Michigan, hell, they could be playing deep into possibly into the beginning of April.
Yeah, they could be. And if Indiana's job isn't filled by then, we know a lot. I don't know. I mean, I think you probably have your list of these are our top 3 or 4 people, and these are the guys we're really going to focus in on. And we need to spend the next couple of weeks to do our complete background checks on them and figure out if their interest is legitimate, in listening to us, and whether they would come if we offer them the job. And then you just got to wait it out until we get to the point where some of these teams their seasons are over, and then you make your first offer and go from there.
Well, one name I have not seen yet, there it is. David gives us Norman Dale as a possibility. Well, he might be retired by now, but possibly he's certainly has done more with less. But yeah, I have gone through, and of the people that I think are legitimate, I went further and said, what are their buyouts? Are they still legitimate, a legitimate candidate? And there are some guys that I just don't think that are. TJ Otzelberger is one. I think that his buyout is just is too high. It's just too high. I think that is between $14 and $18 million.
Yeah. And the other part about TJ Otzelberger that I think makes it more difficult is that, and I've mentioned this before, and his wife is a former Iowa State. I thought it was volleyball, but somebody told me it was basketball. She's a former basketball star there. So she's probably an Iowan, and they're home. It's a great job. He's doing well.
He's killing it.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why he would be interested in Indiana.
He's being paid extraordinarily well. Yeah, right. I mean, he's making he's only making $3.5 million. That's a pittance, but I'm sure that goes up with each year.
Get a raise out of it anyway, because I'm sure that Iowa's going to probably be in the market for a coach this year. That doesn't mean they're going to go after him. They obviously probably wouldn't, but
they should.
Iowa will be paying market value for a coach, and he can find a way to get a raise out of this. Interesting name that was thrown out. I forgot who threw it out. Tommy Lloyd. Have you heard that one?
I have not.
Yeah, the Arizona coach. But I think you were there. I was there on Saturday. I mean, Dusty May handled the press conference really well. He talked forever. he talked more in one press conference than Mike Woodson has talked all month. And
he said everything but no, Rick.
he did not say no. He did not say no. He didn't make an emphatic statement of like, I'm not interested. It's flattering.
I'm not leaving Michigan. He did not
didn't
say that.
He did not say that. He didn't
But
say
that's a
would be.
smart thing to do, whether he
Of
is or
course.
not, because negotiating, man, he's no dummy. But
Yeah.
on the other side of the coin, I think that is truly because this is a decision for him to make, and it is the toughest decision he's probably ever had to make in his life because of the money that's involved, because of just everything. It is a difficult decision, but there's no way that this is not beyond a fantasy job, because you think back when he was a manager under Knight and things were just, it was Indiana basketball still. Now that's gone away. He could be the guy to revive that. That in itself is an unbelievable challenge. It's also an unbelievable opportunity. It will come with a massive payday because they're going to have to pay more than he's being paid now. And all the talk about Indiana fans, well, who's going to want to come here? That crap doesn't mean jack to me. I don't think coaches care about the outside noise. They may talk about it or use it, but at the end of the day, they control that because it comes down to one thing: winning and losing. If you're winning, there's not much to complain about.
I mean, there's outside noise anywhere in any program that has any aspirations to be good. There was outside noise this year at Purdue football. After 2 seasons, they got rid of their coach. And Purdue is hardly a perennial power in football. They can be a good program. They're not great. I mean, there's outside noise right now at North Carolina around Hubert Davis, who went to the national championship game 3 years ago. There's Louisville plays NC State tonight. NC State made the Final Four last year. They've lost 8 straight games. There's outside noise at NC State. That's just what there is in today's world, outside noise. Any coach who has confidence and ability shrugs that off. You've learned how to handle it because you have to handle it. What I would say about Dusty May is I think he has to have a serious conversation with his family and himself and say, is that really my dream job? At some point in his career, I'm guessing it was. It may not be anymore. I don't know. I don't know him. But if it is, then he needs to seriously considering it, because if he turns it down, unlike the Louisville football job that Brom got, 4 years later, Indiana might not open again, because if they hire the right guy, the plan is not to be doing this again in 3 or 4 years. So this is an opportunity. You can say no, but the opportunity might not come around again. So he's the one who has to decide, in my opinion, how much it really means to him to be the coach at Indiana. And not only that, to come home. I mean, that's his home. He not only went to IU, he grew up in the area. His family's from the area. That's a big thing. So we'll see.
It's a huge deal. And it is also something that's never happened. There's never been I would have to go back into the annals of Indiana coaching history prior to Bob Knight to know where everyone was from. But in the modern age, this has not happened. A kid that grew up right here, a kid that was a manager for your team, is now would be the head coach of one of the prominent programs in the country. And yes, I get it. Indiana has not been prominent as far as their play. Let me be the first to acknowledge that. But if you don't think they're a prominent program, I think that you're not being realistic. They're just a sleeping giant, Rick. They are a program that can rise faster than your average program with the right guy. And because if you look at Louisville, which is also a prominent program, look what Pat Kelsey did. He came from the College of Charleston. Look what they're doing. Look what Mark Pope did coming in from Utah. Look what Dusty did going to Michigan. It can happen at a lot. Look what TJ Otzelberger's doing at Iowa State and in the middle of freaking nowhere. So if you think that won't happen again with the right guy, look at Kurt Signetti. I mean, they resurrected a program that was not dead. It was Egyptian wrapped, mummified. And so it's just a matter of time. There's no way with a sport that is so easily to be turned around with a program that has as many resources as you could want. So it's not a question to me of if, but just when they finally get this right.
Yeah, I mean, and look around at, boosters and fans. Would they all endorse Dusty May? I can't think of anybody who wouldn't.
I've got to be honest with you. The overwhelming majority I've seen comment-wise has been for Chris Beard.
Over Dusty May?
Over Dusty May. I see more people commenting about Chris Beard. Now, maybe that's because I'm not talking about him as much, and it's not because I don't think that he wouldn't do the same things. I think he would come in and be an incredible fit. I think he would have Indiana winning next year as well. But I don't know that Indiana will be able to overlook what Ole Miss overlooked.
I think that Dusty May and Brad Stevens, and you got to throw him in there as long as he's out there, are on a tier away from everybody else. They're the two big.
Is Scott Drew in that?
No, I don't think so, because he didn't go.
Even though, because he's financially doable.
Yeah. No, I think it's Dusty. I think it's Dusty May and Brad Stevens who are.
I don't think Brad. I think Brad Stevens is still a pipe dream because he's making $11.3 million.
Probably so.
Celtics president, which has so.
As long as he's out there, and anytime there's an IU basketball opening, he's going to be mentioned. Those are the two. Then after that, it drops down to the next tier. I guess I have Scott Drew fatigue from last year. He was involved.
I get it
with the Louisville and Kentucky jobs, and he gave Kentucky a longer, more detailed look than he gave Louisville. But in the end, didn't want to come. And I just think if he's not going to do that, what's going to change a year later when he's going to come to IU? It's not like he's got some huge IU connection. He grew up in Valpo, which is the northern part of the state, and went to Butler. He's not a huge IU guy. Chris Beard, for some reason, I just think that there's decision makers are not going to be able to get past the incident.
I think that there will be some that are for him, but I agree with you. I don't think there will be a consensus.
Right. And so then after that, then you start getting into the Cronins and the Buzz Williams and
those guys are not viable financially from a buyout standpoint.
Cronin?
What about Brad Brownwell, Evansville native, and teammate of Calbert Chaney at Evansville Harrison?
He's done a solid job at Clemson. I like Brad. I've covered his team since Louisville's been in the ACC. His best 2 years probably been the last couple. He obviously just beat Duke and Carolina back to back. He's going to go back to the NCAA tournament. Last year he was in the Elite Eight. He's a fine coach. He'd probably do well. I don't know if he's going to move the excitement meter until he gets in and starts winning. He's not going to. I don't know. What about you don't like Chris Collins?
It's not about liking. He just doesn't jump off the page at me.
Right.
I think he's a solid coach. You have to be a solid coach to do what he's, even though it's been not great. It's been pretty good at Northwestern, which it's difficult. So obviously he's a good coach, comes from a great coaching family. So I don't think that you would turn your nose up at him. I just think that there are guys out there like Grant McCaslin who are showing that they can do it. Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, formerly of James Madison, who worked with Kurt Signetti. Right. The irony there alone. Ben McCollum at Drake, who is one of those young up and comers. He's another one as well. So
Buzz Williams. What about Buzz Williams?
Buyout. That's another thing. I know that there was an article written. I'm like, do y'all not look at buyouts, man? Nobody's paying 12 to 16 million.
It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's that. Todd Golden, same thing. He's got like a $14 million buyout right now.
Nate Oates has a big buyout too, right?
Oh, yes, like 16 to 18 million, I think. People throw out Rick Pitino. He would have been a good get 4 years ago. I can't remember what his situation was 4 years ago, if he was in Greece or if he was in where the hell he was, if he was at Iona. It's hard to keep track of. But I would have taken Rick Pitino anytime, because I will say this. I think Rick Pitino is one of the all-time greatest college basketball coaches. And I think he is probably maybe the best basketball coach active right now. Just because of his experience, his knowledge, his intensity, his desire to win, his ability to teach and coach his players. He's just a hell of a coach. He's a winner. I love him as a coach. But yeah, there's baggage there, of course, but it's not going to be him. Bruce Pearl, another one. This is probably too late for Bruce Pearl. He's going to be 65. Now, he could go 7 years probably, and that's a pretty damn good run to have a coach like that. So maybe it's worth looking at. I don't have his financial information, so I don't know what it is, but I just don't know that you're going to move on from the number one team in the country.
Yeah, I think we need to focus in on Dusty May for a while. I think
it's his to turn down. I've said that over and over. I think it is his to turn down. And whether he does that or not, we're not going to know for quite some time, because the season is yet to play out. There's 6 regular season games left, then the Big Ten tournament, then the NCAA tournament. So we're talking 2 solid months, maybe not quite, but it's going to be a minute.
Yeah, it is. And the Hoosiers have UCLA Friday, then Purdue next week. Is that right?
Yes, sir. They've got the opportunities coming, and maybe that comes at the right time for Indiana. Wouldn't that be something to make a run at the end of the year after it's been announced that there's going to be a coaching change? Of course, the questions always come, well, where has that been? But we'll see. Hey, let's take our last break. We've got the great Rick Bozich with us talking some hoops, as it was a big night in the Big Ten as well. Some teams that are fighting for first place, taking L's, and some getting W's. We're back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-701-0838. 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore help you find the home you want today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, Pizza. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. And you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday. Made it halfway through the week, and Indiana, they made it through on a successful voyage last night, going to East Lansing and getting the best win that they've had in a few years. Reminiscent, Rick, of when Indiana had lost 13 in a row under Archie Miller and went up there and beat a top 10 Michigan State team. It's kind of ironic. And more importantly, Tom Izzo was looking to pass Bob Knight as the all-time Big Ten wins leader. And you know what? I cannot see a more appropriate thing happen than for Indiana to say, not on my watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that made it sweeter for Mike Woodson because he's obviously a former Bob Knight recruit, Bob Knight player. Bob Knight came to his practices the last few years. I'm sure that made it a little bit sweeter for Mike Woodson, and we'll see if they can build on it going forward. I looked at Michigan State's schedule. He's now got Illinois on Saturday and then Purdue at home. And you're right, they do play Michigan. 2 of their last 5 games are against Michigan, so they could play. They play Michigan the last game of the year, and East Lansing could be for the Big Ten title.
Yeah, I just from what I saw last night, but of course you can't go off of one thing, but Michigan seems to be just have a little bit better team because of Danny Wolf and what he brings. That it's something that, well, most teams don't have a 7-footer that can be pretty prolific from outside. And then you've got a guy in Vladislav Golden who he can be dominant in the middle. And that was the problem for Michigan State last night, is they had no answer for Omar Ballo. And then when he was relieved for Malik Renew, they couldn't stop either one of those guys.
Yeah, that was the best Renew's played since he got injured. I think Indiana did a better job of, when both those guys were in there, of clearing space, and they figured out which guy they were going to feed the post to on different possessions, and the other big man got out of his way, and Renew especially was able to do his thing, which is backing somebody down and then turning over his right shoulder and scoring. His footwork was really good. He knows how to pivot and draw head fake and draw guys up in the air and then score over them, and good for him. He's played with that brace now for several weeks, and I'm sure he's not close to 100%, but he does go out there and try, and he obviously accepted coming off the bench in that game and didn't pout about it. So you like to see guys like that get rewarded.
And I've got to say this, Woodson has taken a lot of grief, but rightfully so, for a lot of stuff. But I've been wondering, how is he going to respond to this? Is he just going to pout the rest of the year like it appeared he was doing with the not appearing on the postgame show with Don Fisher again, and having little,
or the pregame show,
or the pregame, and having a 6-minute postgame presser with no players? But last night, both the team and Mike Woodson, to me, showed it. All right, we're going to fight out the rest of the season. We're going to try to go out winners, and which is the way it should be. You shouldn't have to wonder that, but at least that it appears that is going to be the case, and hopefully so. That will make it a lot better for Indiana all the way around, and who knows what they can end up doing with this newfound mentality, because their mentality was scrambled eggs for the last month.
I mean, their choice is obvious. Do some things that make people remember you in a positive way. This is the first time UCLA is coming to play in Bloomington. Beat them. Purdue comes, I think they have 9 days off after the UCLA game before they play Purdue like a week later on Sunday, beat Purdue, hurt their chances of winning the Big Ten. Then they've got, I think, Penn State, and then they have the West Coast trip to Oregon and Washington, go out there and win a couple of games and, make a run in the Big Ten tournament, win the Big Ten tournament, do something that people remember you by in a positive way instead of what they currently think about this team, which is underachieving. What you've seen in the games that they've won, like last night, is this team's talent should be projecting to a better record than they have. They have got the players where they should make the NCAA tournament. Right now, they're not on track to make the NCAA tournament because they've gotten blown out too many times and they've lost too many games that they should have won. And they've underachieved, and they've cost their coach the job. So it's up to them. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as a bunch of guys who missed the NCAA tournament and coach got fired, or you want to be remembered as a bunch of guys who got it together at the end of the year and went on a run and made the tournament and shocked some people? It's up to you.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know where the change lies. Some Fozon from Amon Jordan. We appreciate you being on from Amon. Fozon, I'm still waiting for my my either a t-shirt or a hat from Amon Jordan, by the way. You can always reach out to me. I'll give you the address and I'll pay for it. It's just something cool to have. Fozon is one of our, he may be our, well, I can't say he's our furthest away listener because I'd have to get on the map and figure that one out, but pretty damn far. Definitely the furthest live listener that I'm aware of. But I forget what I was even saying. I got all distracted. But
I was talking about how they have a choice to how they want to be remembered, and you were going to respond to that.
Exactly. I mean, there are still some guys on this team, specifically Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway,
Amen,
who are 5-year Indiana players, and
right.
They have to say, hey, you know what? This has sucked, but the end can be great. And a lot of people remember the last thing you do more than what you did 5 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever. And both Anthony Leal didn't do much last night, but he did just enough. He did what he's not done much of this year. He hit a pair of free throws when it was crunch time. And Indiana as a whole, they did everything they needed to do to win that game last night. I was shocked at some of the shots that went down, some of the defensive moves that they made, some of the free throws that guys hit, like Anthony Leal, who's a 56% free throw shooter, which is staggeringly unbelievable, but that's a whole nother thing. They just did the things they needed to do to win. And it was the defense really was, I was watching go, what the hell? These guys are playing like their heads on fire.
Yeah, I mean, they actually played a competent zone defense, and it did. And Michigan State's a good team to play it against because they're not a good three-point shooting team. I was surprised that Coach Izzo didn't have a better plan on how to attack the zone defense, especially coming out of halftime. But yeah, they didn't, and it was. Rick, please wear a suit when appearing on.
When you're on here,
I'm battling the flu. I'm just coming off the DL, man.
I've never seen Rick Bozich in a suit in my life. Not that he used to wear one. It's always at a sporting event. So why would I?
One of the ironies of the game was watching Xavier Booker for Michigan State jack up threes. He hit the first one, and then he thought he was Steph Curry, and he took a couple more. And there's a guy who was top 5 recruit in the country who went to Michigan State, and second year into his career there, he really is pretty much of a non-factor, right?
Absolutely. And that's another name, though. How many names do we see around the Big Ten and elsewhere that have gotten away from Indiana, kind of led to this point? Liam McNeely.
38 points last night. Yeah, I saw that.
Wow. 38 points, 12 of 22, 5 of 10 from 3-point, 9 of 10 at the free throw line.
Second game back from being injured, too.
And UConn is not ranked. They're unranked.
Well, they've lost a lot of games. They lost a home game.
I know. But, yeah, they'll get back in there. But
if they get in the tournament, they're going to be a dangerous team to play.
Liam McNeely, okay. Derek Queen just had a 29-point game
Oh,
the other day. It's just, boy, how lucky was Kevin Boyle last year at Montverde?
plus he had
Liam
Flag,
McNeely,
right?
Dake Quinn, Cooper Flagg, Asa Newell, and there were two others that are D1 guys that I can't even think of right now.
It's
That
crazy.
was, yeah. He's doing a hell of a coaching job this year because they don't have that kind of talent. But who does? My God, that's a college all-star team right there. But speaking of which, Trent Sisley is playing for Montverde. He will be at Indiana next year. It does not matter what happens with his coaching hire. Trent Sisley is committed to play at Indiana, not for Mike Woodson, not for Scott Dolson, not for you or me. He's, well, in his essence, he's playing for you people because he is going to play for Indiana. It's what he wants to do.
You're confident of that?
I am very confident of that.
Yeah. Other people seem to be saying that too. I mean,
as a matter of fact,
I'm sure he and his dad know they're going to get a good coach.
I'll guarantee it.
What better way to make your debut as be one of the building blocks of the new coach, especially if you're going to be a 3 or 4 year guy.
That is something that I have said a lot. He is going to be an important part. I'm not saying he's going to be Trent or Liam McNeely and have 38-point game as a freshman. Maybe he will. I don't know. But he's going to be a very important part of Indiana getting back to being Indiana. Now, that includes having to have the right coach. So I'm assuming that they're going to get it right this time. But with that said, Trent Sisley is I call him the prototypical Indiana basketball player. He's from Indiana. He played hard Indiana high school basketball before going to Montverde. He does it all. He can bring the ball up the floor. He can shoot from the outside. He can battle in the middle, get the heck beat out of you. He's just one of those guys that will dive on the floor, get the bloody nose. He is going to be there at Indiana for 3, maybe 4 years. Who knows? And he is going to be an important cog in Indiana, getting back to being what the fans want to see. Now, whether or not they can keep Zerno, that's another question, because he would be a great piece for, can you imagine a new coach coming in and having Trent Sisley and Zerno already as recruits? Now you go out and you get yourself, it's probably going to be 10 new players, Rick. I don't know anybody on this roster that will be here next year. I can't imagine that there will be.
Yeah. I don't, maybe Tucker. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Tucker and Mbako are the only two that I'm like, who would you even want back? The thing about Tucker is, boy, does he need a shot in the worst way. A jump shot. Great athlete, but needs a jump shot. And Mbako needs that. He's going to have to learn how to play defense.
Yeah, I don't see Mbako staying around. And
I don't
either.
either.
Guys are seniors. Cups, I think, is going to leave. Newton can't stay healthy. I mean, you got a lot of work to do on that roster, but in the new world of the transfer portal, that's the good thing. You can do that work.
Oh, and that's the great thing is a coach coming in also knows he will more than have the funds to pretty much get whatever team he wants. And if it is the right coach, like I'm expecting it to be, I don't think that that's going to be problematic, because if they're a winner and a proven winner and you're going to a place that, hey, they can offer me this, hell yeah, I'm going to be part of it. But I wonder how they can mix in bringing in players that you have to win no matter where they are. And maybe some guys that were from Indiana have gone elsewhere and can be brought back.
I think there'll be a few of those guys, just like there was this year with Luke Goody. And isn't there an outside chance he could come back if you get some kind of a waiver from the NCAA?
I don't know that happens.
Okay. But I mean, there's probably some other guys out there who are Indiana high school kids who'd like to come back. So that's not going to be a problem. The problem is getting the right coach. Get the right coach. He figures it out. That's part of the coach's job. And dive right into recruiting. The first year is always tough because you're behind in recruiting compared to other schools and building relationships with kids in the state. But I'm not even sure how good the class of 2026 is in Indiana. I think there's some younger kids who are really good in the state.
Yeah, I was just talking to Kyle and then Rip. Obviously, the top of the class, Braylon Mullins, he's heading out of state. Does this possibly change things for him? Is that who knows? I don't know that he's signed anything with UConn, so that would be a conversation to have. What's up next for you, brother?
Oh, first, tonight Louisville plays NC State, which I'll be watching. I'll be watching the Hoosiers on Friday night against UCLA, and Louisville plays Notre Dame at Notre Dame on Sunday. So those are the games.
Appreciate you as always, brother. Look forward to seeing you soon, man.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. The great Rick Bozich joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Make sure you give him a follow, and you're keeping up with all things that he does in regards to college athletics. And, hey, if you're following us on YouTube, just give us a like. I don't care if you subscribe or not. Just give us a like, man. That we appreciate that more than you know. And I appreciate each and every one of you being with us today on the program. As always, it has been a blast. Looking forward to doing it again tomorrow as we keep it up. As the season rolls on, coaching search is underway. Big Ten title race getting tighter. It's all happening. But nothing happens without you guys. Grateful for you. Go out and have yourselves an incredibly good day. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.